kind of was percolating on this since the AFC Championship game, and wanted to talk about, like, to lead this off, talking about Patrick Mahomes, the Kansas City Chiefs, and this notion that the league is rigging things for the Chiefs. Because I think it's kind of apolitical to a degree. Like some people want to make it about politics because of Brittany Holmes and Patrick Mahomes' wife and the kicker. But both of those controversies started long after the Kansas City Chiefs were successful. So we'll just ignore that. So, all right, here's what I wanted to consider, though. After the Chiefs won, and there were a couple of questionable plays, or I would say 50-50 calls. There were calls that could have gone either way, that went the Chiefs' way, and the Chiefs ended up winning the game. So there are some people that would like to say that they only won the game because they got those calls. And I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail, but the first call was there was a call that was up in the air, like the receiver and the defender came down with it at the same time. The looked like maybe the Bills guy initially had the ball, but the Chiefs guy came away with the ball. And these calls all that happen all the time, and usually it's the person that comes away with it that gets the call, and they gave the call to the Chiefs. But if it had gone the other way, there was a penalty on the play, and the Chiefs would have had it first and 10 from the 20 instead of first and 10 from the 5. So it's not like it would have been impossible for them to score. And in fact, there's an argument you can make because they had it first and 10 from the 5, and they scored shortly after that, and it left like a minute and a half on the clock. And the Bills were able to go down and get their own touchdown after that. If it had been first and 10 from the 20, there's a feasible argument that it would have taken the Chiefs longer. The Bills wouldn't have gotten the ball back, and they wouldn't have been able to score on an ensuing possession. So you could argue that the call actually benefited the Bills. The other play was the Bills actually, I think they had the lead, and there was a 4th and short. And Josh Allen, the Bills quarterback, tried a quarterback sneak. He didn't quite, at least according to the officials, he didn't get the line to gain. And so the ball was turned over on downs to the Chiefs. And this this ended up with because the ball went over to the Chiefs, and then the Chiefs went around, came, and they had a scoring drive after that and ended up winning the game. And it was really close whether Allen made it or not, and they had an official review, and the Chiefs won the review, but the officials, or the commentators, said they felt like Allen made it, and they have the retired official on there to review these calls, and he said that he felt Allen made it by about a third of the football, and which a football is 11 inches, so we're talking about 3 inches that in a group, in a mass of people. And the thing that people don't consider is that the announcers are looking at it with the TV image of the line to gain, which is unofficial, but also which isn't there for the officials on the field or for the review officials, because it's not an official line, and so it's not like you can really follow it from there. So something like 3 inches is really hard to see. And that's why they have chains, because sometimes it is literally a game of inches, and so they have to bring out the chains to see if somebody made the first down or not. So anyway, the conspiracy theorists is that the conspiracy around the Chiefs is that they consistently get these close calls. And if it were just one, then people would write it off. But they're always getting the close calls. And so since they're always getting the close calls, the NFL is rigging the game so that the Chiefs will win. And so then they want the Chiefs to win because Taylor Swift is dating Travis Kelce, the Kansas City Chiefs tight end. And so when she goes to the game, all the Swifties watch the game so they might get a sight of Taylor Swift. And so then that boosts ratings. So that means there's more TV ratings for the NFL, for the more money. And so everybody in the NFL wants the Chiefs to win. All right. And so now the NFL has rigged things for the Chiefs to win. And the refs are in on this, I guess, or something like that. And so that's the conspiracy. And I feel like this is non-political enough that my political audience will be able to separate their own personal fandom from the analysis. And hopefully I'm right. But if you're a Bills fan, I feel for you. I can feel your loss. Watching Bruce Almighty, and all I can say is that's the way the cookie crumbles. Anyway, if you get it, you get it. If you don't worry. The theory is that the NFL has rigged the league for the Kansas City Chiefs. There are some problems with this. First of all, there are out of 32 teams, the Kansas City Chiefs have the 27th largest market, and they don't even have there's other cities that don't even have markets that are larger markets than the Chiefs. And there is one team that you could technically say has a larger market than has a smaller market than the Chiefs, but they have two smaller markets than the Chiefs. That's the Green Bay Packers. But when you put Green Bay and Milwaukee together, which is the two places where the Packers play, and they actually have a larger market. And obviously you've got like the entire state of Wisconsin. So you have that, right? Like you have like why, if the NFL were going to rig the league for a team, why not like the Los Angeles Rams, who have a good enough team and represent like a massive market, or the Chargers, who are in the playoffs, who also play in Los Angeles, or if you combine the two Jets teams, you still wouldn't, or the two New York teams, you still wouldn't have a playoff team. So neither one of those. But why not the state of New York? Even though Buffalo has a smaller market, if you could get the state of New York behind them, then that whole television market would be bigger than the Kansas City market and the whole state of Missouri. So why not the Buffalo Bills? Why rig it for the Bills? You have the AFC starting quarterback in the Pro Bowl on that team. Why not that team? And then the answer is because Taylor Swift is dating Travis Kelce. But she only started dating Travis Kelce last year, and the Chiefs have been winning this is their 5th Super Bowl in 6 years, and their 7th straight AFC championship game. So it's not like you can tie the Chiefs winning to the timeline there. So then you go, and then the next question is, why would the NFL rig it at all? Because who is the NFL? And the NFL is 32 distinct teams, and it's an association. It's not a corporation, with a CEO. And each of those teams has their own interest in winning the Super Bowl. So I don't think Jerry Jones is going to get behind the idea of the Kansas City Chiefs having the Super Bowl rigged for them because Taylor Swift when the Dallas Cowboys are actually the most viewed team in the NFL, not the Kansas City Chiefs. So if, I mean, like all things considered, if you just wanted the highest possible rated Super Bowl, you would have the Dallas Cowboys in it, and they didn't even make the playoffs. So that's really stupid rigging. The point is, though, that the NFL is these 32 different teams, and you'd have to have owners voting against their own interest in order to rig this, including the owner of the Buffalo Bills. And then you could say, well, maybe it's, they had a vote and some of these owners voted against it, but they lost. And it's like, well, but why would they stay silent about it? Why is there year after year these votes over who's going to win and nobody ever knows about it? Wouldn't it at some point it become apparent? And there's like, this dude has done mathematical equations on conspiracy theories. And when you look at the number of people involved and the number of time involved, you're talking about two factors that eventually a conspiracy theory will be exposed. So when you're talking about 50 years of Super Bowl history and all the different owners and managements and players and stuff like that, you're talking about a massive number of people that would have to be involved in a conspiracy over who's going to win the Super Bowl for it to remain under hat all this long. And so then, some people would say, well, Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, he's doing it. Well, okay, if he's doing it, how is he acting on his own? What is the means by which he's doing that? And, how is he communicating this to the referees? How does he know which referee in preseason? How does he know which referee is going to be in the AFC Championship game when he doesn't even know who the teams are going to be in the AFC Championship game? How does he arrange all this? Does he have every single official in the NFL involved in this? And does that happen every single year? Is he rigging every game to see who gets to the playoffs or who gets the number one seed and so on? Like, you see what I'm saying? There has to be, like, to just say the NFL has it rigged is easy to say, but when you start thinking about how that rigging happens, it becomes like just impossible to like really. And so then, like, they keep going smaller. Well, okay, it's not the NFL, it's Roger Goodell. And then it's like, okay, he's just in those officials' ears. Like, he's in the game and he's like telling them to tilt this one call for the Chiefs. And like, are they wearing a special earpiece? Does he have like a Roger Goodell signal that he shines in the sky that only officials can see? How does he communicate these things to the refs? That this is what he wants to happen. And this is like, I don't think that there's a conspiracy theory. I'm not like a fan of the Chiefs. I am a fan of NFL players, including both Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. I wrote about the NBA for over a decade. And over the course of that time, the thing that I really learned is just to appreciate greatness while it's there, whether it's LeBron James or Kevin Durant or Stephen Curry. You're watching players that are some of the best of their generation and the best in history. And you can sit there and get all caught up in who is better, and then all those conversations end up being is trying to diminish the other guy. Or you can just appreciate the greatness of like individual talents. And that's where I'm at as a fan of football. I don't have a favorite team. I don't have a favorite player. There are players I enjoy watching, and whether that's Saquon Barkley jumping over people backwards, or Patrick Mahomes inventing things, or Josh Allen throwing the football 70 yards on target, or Jaden Daniels for that matter, and just his presence as a rookie, like he's been around for 20 years. They're all amazing players. I love watching them all. I'm a fan of the game more than any player, and so maybe that's where if I have a bias, it's to defend the game itself more than anything. But it's not like I'm not pro Mahomes or anti Mahomes. So let's go back to the NFL thing, right? And I'll ask people, why would they do that? Why would the NFL do that? And they'll come up with like money will be the answer, and that's the easy go-to for any conspiracy theory. Oh, it's just about the money. Okay, how does the NFL make more money if the Kansas City Chiefs win? And then that will come down. They'll say ratings. Okay. How does ratings matter if the Kansas City Chiefs win? And this is something like, again, you need to actually follow through on this logic. How do the Kansas City, would the NFL, or I'm sorry, let me put it differently. Does who won the AFC Championship game make a difference in how much money the NFL makes in the Super Bowl? And so how does the NFL make money in the Super Bowl? Well, they don't. The NFL has already been paid for the Super Bowl by the network that's covering it. So the NFL, I'm just going to look this up. So who's covering the Super Bowl this year? I don't even know that. Okay, so it's on Fox. And how much did Fox pay for the Super Bowl? They paid millions of dollars. So it doesn't say how much they paid. But because it's not really how much did Fox pay for their NFL, their current? They paid $1.6 billion over 4 years. That's the entirety of everything that they're, over all the games that they broadcast, including the Super Bowl. Okay. And they've already paid that money to the NFL. So the NFL makes no more money if the Chiefs are in it, if the Bills are in it. They've already gotten their money. It makes no difference to the NFL. So, like, ratings doesn't change how much the NFL gets, nor does it matter how much money Fox gets for broadcasting it, because most of those Super Bowl ads are already sold, and the prices is already set. They've already made over 80. I think what was it saying? They're $8 million a piece for the ads. That's not going to change based on because the Kansas City Chiefs they didn't bump the price from 8 million to 10 million because the Chiefs are in it. Nor does it mean that the ratings are going to be any better. Like there was an initial boost with the whole relationship with Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift in regular season NFL games. The Super Bowl is one of the most widely watched sporting events or events of any sort every single year. And it's not like they need Taylor Swift sitting in the audience to get people to watch it. So it's not like ratings are affected by it. It's not like money is affected by it. There's no reason to do this. And then the next thing you want to look at is when they talk about these conspiracies and the people that are involved, then you have to look at the risk reward. Okay, so if there's almost no reward for it, what is the risk involved? Well, the risk involved is this behemoth of a business that's getting paid. Like, how much does the NFL make? They make about $20 billion a year. So why would the NFL risk this $20 billion a year industry and the credibility of it by rigging the league for something that's not going to make them any more money and is just going to make the 27th largest market in the Super Bowl? It doesn't make sense. There's no logical reason for the NFL to do this rigging. Going back to the NFL thing, is it possible that the ref got the call wrong? And there's like like I covered the NBA for a good decade, and looked into this kind of stuff with the NBA. And there is, like if you look at 40, 50 years of NBA history, like I did, and you look at the number of fouls called against it or called on behalf of a team when they're home versus away, there is a consistency that teams are more likely to get the whistle when they're at home versus when they're away. There is a there is a statistical evidence. There is statistical evidence that hometown crowds influence NBA referees, and I have no reason to believe that that would not also be the case with the NFL. And it is within the realm of possibility that the Kansas City fans and being in Kansas City affected that call. But again, that's not saying there's malice. That's just normalcy. It's not just, like this one time it happened. So there's nothing unusual there. And, and it's like, is it reasonable to believe that this, referee with, everybody yelling at him could look into this crowd of people and see an 11-inch football of, like with no definitive line like we have, and just not think he got it across? Like, isn't it possible that just he made an honest mistake? And it was so close that the officials that were reviewing it could look at this and say, we do not have overwhelming evidence, or what is the indisputable evidence that he got it wrong. Like, and without using the yellow line again, because the yellow line is only the TV has that. They don't have that in the live game, and the NFL officials aren't able to review to look at that. Isn't it possible he just got the call wrong, and that there's no mass conspiracy involved? And then and then people are like, well, the Kansas City Chiefs are always getting these calls. But one, that's because they win a lot of games. Like, they get a lot of calls because are in close games they win, because they win a lot of close games. It doesn't mean that, correlation is not causation. And they're winning a lot of close games because they are in almost all the games that they play. And then they also have a quarterback in Patrick Mahomes that is really, really, really good at game management in in-game situations. He is able to maintain a possession and long drives that end up, swinging the game. And so, like, he gets a lot of these 3rd and 4th down conversions through a lot of times just spontaneous decision making and genius playmaking that other people can't do, or they don't see what he sees. They don't have the feel for things with their most reliable player, the way he and Kelsey have this like really incredible chemistry between them that's been developed over all these years of winning together. So, like, it's not unreasonable that Kansas City would have a long list of close calls they got in close games they won, just because there are a lot of close games they won. And if we went through and look at all the calls they didn't get in close games they lost, it wouldn't be as long of a list, because they just don't lose many games. So it's a, like, correlation is not causation. And like that's the other part of these conspiracy theories, is that you can't just look at, like, you'll have people say, well, isn't this possible? Isn't this possible? Isn't this possible? And it's like they want you to look at what is possible rather than what is plausible. And it's like, okay, is it plausible